Right. Thank you. Thank you, Tiffany. All right, wonderful. Great, great, great. That is our testimony, especially if you're an entrepreneur. First of all, I want to welcome each and every fabulous ladies. Thank you, girls, for
Thank you.
yes, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for answering the summons, right? You and I both know to answer God's summons is not always easy. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Some of us, we come kicking and screaming, but we come. And some of us go running, you know what I mean? We try to run, but he grabs us. Either way, we have answered the call, and I thank God for each and every one of you. I want to welcome the audience. I want to welcome those who are trying to be entrepreneurs, those who are actually entrepreneurs, and those who want to know how to be an entrepreneur. I have five fabulous ladies, including myself, will make 6 women that are going to dialogue today about what it is to be an entrepreneur, and we're going to talk about how do you manage your money, how do you manage motherhood, how do you manage being a wife if you're a wife, and how do you answer that call? You know, being an entrepreneur, there's always something going on, and I have never worked harder. How about you ladies?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh God, it's like you never have a day off, right?
That's right.
Absolutely, yeah. So welcome to Wild Ministries, welcome to Wild Enterprise, welcome to Let's Go, Let's Learn, Let's Chat, Let's Act. So, our first question is, ladies, you know, there's an article I sent you all, and you had to find yourself in there. So I won't tell you where I found myself till last. So I want to hear what you all have to say. So anybody that feels led to be first, just jump right in and tell me, where did you find yourself? Were you 1, 2, or 3? Or did you see yourself in all of the above?
Well,
Anyone?
I'm definitely a 2. I'm a doer. Although I can be all 3, I'm more of a doer. So yeah, I just, if I have a list of things to do, I'll just get it done as quickly as I can. I've always been a doer. And it's probably because I'm a middle child, and middle childs tend to be doers. So.
Okay. Anybody else?
Mary, repeat what the 3 choices are so the audience will know.
Okay, the 3, thank you. That's good, Donna. The 3 choices are the creator is the person with the innovative ideas. Number 2, the doers are task-oriented people or individuals. And number 3, you are an implementer type person, and you bring things to closure. You like to see something begin, but then you like to see it end, you know? So where do you find yourself, ladies? Doer, creator?
The creator and the implementer. I have the ideas and I like to make them happen.
Yeah, I'm definitely a number 3 first, and then a tester, number 2.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So definitely number 3.
Okay.
I think last time we talked, I mentioned that I didn't think I was creative, and my kids and my husband helped me to see that I am very creative. So
Yes, we voted that down and said you
Yes,
are very creative.
you guys helped me to understand that too. I think because it takes me so long, I'm just not instantly creative. I have to ponder it. I have to kind of study it for a while before I can get the vision in my head. So perhaps I'm all 3.
Okay, very good. All
I
right.
think that I'm all 3, and however, I think that God gives us all, whatever our strengths and talents and gifts are, whether we're one of those or all 3 of those, I think He can use that and capitalize and maximize that. So if if you want to put the link to that below the video so everybody else can look at it, but wherever you find yourself, God's got a purpose, and He can definitely make that happen. So don't feel excited if you're not all three. If you are, or if you're just one, whatever, he gave you everything you need to be successful.
Okay, excellent, excellent. And I likewise, in all three, I'm a doer. I like to make things happen, but I'm definitely creative. And I will implement, and I like to see closure. Okay, so in saying that,
We got one more.
who didn't say anything?
We all said something.
I thought Michelle didn't get a chance.
Oh, she's a doer, right, Michelle?
Yeah, I'm a number 3, and I just want to say I apologize for background noise. I'm also actually in a hotel room, so I have my family, and I didn't have a quiet space. I'm here for a funeral, so
Yeah, that's
we're
okay.
all here together. So you may
That's
hear
what we do.
TV and stuff. So yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, I didn't want to say anything, so I said, well, you know what? I don't want to say, rat her out. So, I get it. Yeah, I'm so glad you said something.
I just didn't want you to think that I didn't. I thought someone said they heard some noise, and yeah. So apologies up front. I hope we can bear through it, and I hope it's not too imposing.
You can
Oh,
probably,
listen,
And that's what I'm doing. I'm going to mute after I speak so that you don't hear too much.
yeah.
No problem. And thank you for Michelle. First of all, Michelle and Maina, right?
Marnie.
Marnie. Michelle and Marnie we taped this last week, but for whatever reason, I had a technical difficulty. It didn't tape. So I did an upgrade, and they changed, the whole process of how you record on this thing, and didn't tell us. So bam, there it was. We didn't retake. But you know what I said? Well, Lord, maybe this is what you wanted. So it gave me an opportunity to reach out to you two, which I'm so happy to have. So
Absolutely.
as you can see, Leslie was unable to make it because she already had something else. So I was like, okay, so I was like, I got, Michelle, I got Maina, and I have Donna, and I have, of course, Courtney and Tiffany. I'm good. I was like, this is who God wanted. Especially Michelle, because I know Michelle's busy, you know what I mean? So I was happy that she was able to squeeze this in, and I knew about her family member dying away. So I'm just so honored that she squeezed this in. So thank you. Thank you. So anyway, in saying that, okay, so we have been summoned, girls. And so now we have answered the call, and we've been doing this for a long time. Ladies, tell me, what did God do to get you to answer the call? How was that process for you, ladies? Can you talk a little bit about that? Can you unpack that for us? And I won't be calling names, so you can just jump right in when I ask the question. Feel free.
For me, answering the call was not hard. It's going along with his timing that was the hardest part for me. Trusting his timing, because mine was a whole lot sooner than his timing.
I agree with Donna, same here. Answering the call wasn't quite that easy because my husband didn't understand why I would be quitting my job to become an entrepreneur. But I think God's timing would have been a lot easier for me had my husband understood. So I was like, hurry up, God, because I need to prove to the man that I heard from you. So yeah, that God's timing was definitely, I didn't understand anything about God's timing at the time. I was very spiritually immature. And so that was the roughest part, God's timing.
Yeah, for me, it probably was about 15 years ago, if I'm being honest, was when I first answered the call, but I had to go through a long process so that God could build my character to mature me, and had a whole lot of challenges. I ended up getting married and going through domestic violence and having a son with special needs and all of these other things in between, becoming homeless, living in a shelter. But by the grace of God, here we are 15 years later. God has done the miraculous. I'm on the other side of victory. So sometimes when you first answer that call, you don't know when the manifestation is going to come.
Mhm.
It took about 14, 15 years.
Mhm.
Marnie, you want to go, or you?
You can go, you're unmuted
I
there.
said your name right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I was just thinking, listening to her, I actually, it has always been on my heart. I always wanted to be my own boss. I never worked well with others in the playground, right? So I tell you, I like to see, I'm an executor, and to work for folks that they're not that way, I got impatient and maybe it just didn't gel. So just real quick, the victory came to me. I was the HR director, the human resource director at the White House.
Mhm.
And under the Obama administration, and then the Trump administration came in, and it was like, oh, I went to bed on top of the world and woke up with the world on top of me. My life it wasn't, and I'm not talking about Trump, and it has nothing to do with parties.
Mhm.
It really has to do with personalities and how you're treated. And it was a lesson learned. And do I ever put myself in a position like that where one job can define my existence, whether I can pay my bills, whether I can take care of my child. I was a single mom at that time, and I had been most of her life. And I prided myself on my education and thinking I was doing the right things. But, Satan he's not a respecter of persons. You don't have to do something wrong. Sometimes people say, it reminds me in the Bible, they said, the disciples said to Jesus, well, what did he do wrong to be in the predicament he's in?
Mhm.
But, Satan will cipher you out and test you. And that's what happened, because all I did was show up and went to work and treated people the way I would want to be treated. And so anyway, God just reminded me of what he had put into me. So that's when I started writing books. I said, God, what do you want me to do with he said, I want you to go out and I want you to serve others. Do something where you can serve other people, where you're not focused on what's happening to you. Instead of you're focused on what your happenings is and how I can pour into other people. So it really it had been always on my heart, but I got complacent being an employee, and scared to be an employer because I didn't think I had what it took. And, just the way I was treated, just for being me, kind of spearheaded it. And so I just began to do a whole bunch of different things to see what stuck to the wall the longest. But it really was circumstances. And, when I look back, I would take nothing from my journey, because I wouldn't be on this call with you guys if I had not went through that experience. So that's when I answered the call. Thank you.
Awesome.
For me, it was 30 years ago. I had a 2-year-old and a newborn, and my husband lost his job, and I went out to go look for work because I had computer ability. And I went to an interview, and then I came home, and it's just something told me, if you go and to the work, want to come home to your children again. I mean, I'm not saying it's true for everybody, but it was just something true for me that God told me. And so I ran an ad in the paper to teach people computer training, like you teach piano out of your home. And people, it was like May of 1990. By November of 1990, I had about 50 hours a week worth of training, people coming into my house and learning stuff. And that just took me from there. So it was more just that knowing from God to tell me that's not the path you're supposed to take. And so that's why I'm here.
Now tell me, ladies, how did you get your clients? I mean, being an entrepreneur, stepping out by faith, I hear you, but I mean, you got to get clients from somewhere. How did you get your clients? Because that's, to me, I think that is the hardest part. After you step out, the next roadblock is the clientele. How do you build your clientele so you can make the coins?
So word of mouth, social media, but then usually what would happen is one client would refer me, and so it was kind of like a cyclical effect. And so that's how I've been able to grow my base.
Oh, speaking of, before anybody else answers, can you tell me real quickly, ladies, what is your business? What is it that you do? Let's tell the people what you do and how they can get a hold of you?
Well, my name is Tiffany Lanae, also known as Tiffany Durden, and I am a gospel recording artist, and I also am a founder CEO of The Village Incorporated, which is a faith-based arts organization. And you can reach me on social media at Tiffany Lanae Worship, Facebook and Instagram.
So my name is Michelle Pinnell. I'm on Facebook as Michelle Hudson. Got married last September to a pastor. So my business is MHC. It's called My Human Capital Solutions. It's a consulting firm where I do training on federal government processes and procedures in the human resources spectrum. So prior to COVID-19, I was traveling and going out and training federal employees on the HR systems and how to use their processes and so forth. And I also have a surname. I'm an author of 3 books. One of them is 31-Day Meditational Guide, the About Face Request, and my coin is the About Face. And my surname is Marnie Wilson, and I'm on Amazon, where you can purchase my books from there. Thank you.
Marnie Kuhns, and I help people discover, create, and deliver their soul song. And I'm actually doing a free course to help people do that at ignitepoint.com. Ignitepoint.com.
My name is Courtney Artiste, and I do so many things. My main business is I'm a publisher. I've published books all over the world since 2010. 11, I've been doing that. I help people start online fashion boutiques. I'm dabble in a little graphic design. I mean, I do so many things, and you can find me on Instagram at Courtney Artiste.
Well, last but not least, I'm Donna White. I am the founder and CEO of the BHRT Training Academy. We train medical providers in how to prescribe bioidentical hormones, and that is for PMS, perimenopause, and menopausal and even postmenopausal women dealing with hormone challenges. And I'm also the author of the book, The Hormone Makeover.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Of course, everybody know me. My name is Mary Davidson. I'm the host. And of course, Courtney and myself co-wrote a book together, a couple of books. We wrote 2 books together, matter of fact, Step Into Your Greatness and How to Get Your Fight Back. And of course, they're both, I believe they're both still on Amazon, but we wrote those books a few years ago. So maybe will be out there. And secondly, I too am very creative. So I actually started Wild Ministries. That's my ministry. Wild Enterprise, that is my business. Why Not You Publishing Company. And you already know this online thing, which is something God just dumped in my lap last year, called Summoned. And basically, we will be just doing this throughout the whole year, just calling for people in the ministry and in the business world to marry the 2 worlds, because in our lives, they are a marriage, right? So, and we're going to help people learn how to do that if they don't know how to do it. Let's see here. Okay, so let's see what our next question will be. Oh, this is a good one. How many hours, ladies, do you work in a day? Alternatively, perhaps maybe in a week. I don't work a lot of hours. So what does that look like in your kingdom?
Everybody's laughing. When do we not work? How many hours do you not work, girls? Would that be a better question?
That's a better question.
I think it's more about, for me, it's about flexibility, you know, because I do have a family. I have 4 kids, and they age now and range from 20 to 32. So they are a little bit bigger. But all the time of my life, I made the decision to work from home, which meant that I would have to sacrifice certain things, meaning I couldn't just go sit at a desk in an office somewhere from 9 to 5 and concentrate. No, I worked while they were all around me, except for when they were at school, of course. So sometimes I work, I stop and fix lunch, they take a nap, I work some more, I cook dinner, I work some more after, they go to bed. So it's been a choice to do that, but that means it's flexibility. That means it's not so structured, because I wanted both. I wanted to be with my kids and I wanted to have my business. So that means sacrifices. That means I work a lot on Saturdays or Sundays or whenever, I work around the family. They are the priority, but I'm committed to my business. So I guess maybe I enjoy working a little bit more than having fun. Although we do need, girls, we do need to remember to feed our souls some, but it feeds my soul to work too. How about y'all?
Same here. Same here. I work, I try to hit it really, really hard because again, I homeschool. We have a life of freedom. We will take off in April or March or February and go on vacation because that's the reason why we do it. So I homeschool, and so I may sleep 5 or 6 hours a week, but then I'll take time where it's just, where I'll rest or I'll spend time with my family, my husband. We're actually at a hotel right now. We just decided that we're just going to get away. So that's the flexibility in it. It's hard. Sometimes I've worked from sun up to sun up. I started working when I woke up, and when I looked, it was the same time. I was up 24 hours. So, and then you have children, you have to have schoolwork, you have to cook dinner, you have to do laundry, my husband is a clean freak, so I have to make sure everything is always clean at all times. And so it's challenging, but
isn't it worth it?
It's so worth it to be able to take your children on a cruise in February while everyone else is at school. So.
Okay, so let me ask you another question, ladies. Give an example of a time when you had to take a risk and it was very painful. How did it turn out?
So let me just get clarification, just a risk in general or just with the risk with our businesses?
Your business.
Okay.
I was
Well, I don't
thinking about this question. And
I'm
I think,
gonna be honest with you. I thought when I asked this question that I would probably wouldn't even hardly get it out of my mouth because entrepreneurs, well, maybe just in my world, taking risks has been like my middle name. So,
Yeah.
So jump right in.
I have a thought on that one. Actually, the biggest risk that I took was to cut back and step away from my business. Or been in business for 30 years, and then within the last year, I've picked it back up. But I took almost like a 2-year break and dove into music because I felt God leading me to really dive in and do music. And now I brought music back into what I'm doing. So the risk was to step away and let go of worrying about making money and know who I was when I wasn't making money. So that was really hard for me to take and step back and not do that, and then be able to come back and bring a more relaxed way of looking at my business where I don't really work that much.
Good for you.
It's more strategic and more spirit-led. And it's been a blessing to have taken that break, but it was scary to do.
Yeah, for me, I don't know if I viewed it as a risk as if other people that knew me viewed it as a risk. So like, oh my God, you gonna do that? Where are you gonna do that? So, well, what are you gonna do if that doesn't work? I think other people might have viewed it more as a risk. I'm a risk taker. That's the only way you're gonna move, and I just stepped out on faith. Like I said, I was it was just like a trajectory of what happened that put me into this place. And then people are like, so you can go get another? No, I'm not going to go back into the government. I left the government. Well, why did you leave the government? You were all the way up. No. And that was, I think the risk came from how they perceived it. It wasn't whether I was going to succeed or not, because that was not a given. I couldn't fail. That wasn't an option in my book. So I worked 24 hours a day. If that meant I was going to succeed, that's how I looked at it. So they didn't know the fight that was in me, maybe, or maybe they didn't have the fight. Well, I don't want to say like that. A lot of folks are different than the 6 of us on this call because they don't have the drive and they don't have the fight. And when you don't have it, it looks scary from the outside. But when you have it, like the young lady, she said, I stepped away for 2 years. Most people are like, oh my gosh, how can you step away from your own job, your company, and what about money? And you're thinking, I have a drive that if you do it right, you can make money and not have to be working as hard. You know, after a certain time, your money's supposed to be working for you. Yeah. So that's how you drive. That's why when you first start out, you work crazy hours and people don't understand why you're still sitting and looking at a computer and why you're still in the same position you were in when they left you this morning. It's called a drive. So I guess that's just another way of looking at it. Like, I just didn't feel like I was taking the risk, but others may have viewed it that way. I just felt like I'm going after my purpose and I'm gonna make this work.
Yeah, I felt the same way. When I first got the call from God back in 2005, I was a government contractor, and I said, I'm going full speed ahead. This is what I know I heard from God. I'm walking away. I was a lot younger then, but people thought I was crazy. Oh my God, you're stepping from this very high-paying government job and blah, blah, blah. And I was unbothered until I couldn't pay my rent. So yeah, I ran into a little pickle right there, but God made a way. He definitely made a way. And this is what I know: when you step out on faith, God makes a way. When there seems like there's no way, he makes a way. And that's what he has done. Even despite all of the obstacles I've had on my journey, God has made ways out of no way. And this is the beauty of being an entrepreneur. This is the beauty of stepping out on faith. God never leaves you. He's always there. So I would say our journey is still pretty much a risk, but I think we're all in a position that we're all at risk, especially in a global pandemic. You know, nothing's guaranteed. Everything's uncertain right now. So we have to put our hope and our faith in God. And this is where business and faith have to marry each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for us, I think for us, I'm sorry, Donna.
I was just going to say, I'm not a risk taker. I am not. I want security.
Donna, you like me. I want security too.
Okay, so how I bring this all together with what you're saying, I applaud you girls for being risk takers. I am a hard worker. I'm all 3 of those on that entrepreneur article that you gave to us, but I needed confirmation. Because when God gives you a promise, or, you know, I felt like I had, and I think you need to get clarity on your vision.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I felt through, you know, not that this happened overnight, but, you know, God had developed and had given me clarity about what he was calling me to, but I still needed confirmation. And there are different ways that he will, you know, do that. God does, he is faithful. If you ask him for confirmation, he will confirm what he says to you. But I needed that because from the time that he gives you the dream to you step into that, there's a whole lot of mess in that middle. There's a lot. I mean, I know you guys have been through some stuff or you wouldn't be here. But so there's so much hard, you know, challenges and trials between the promise and the stepping into the promise, you know, promised land that he's given you. I needed his rhema word. I needed, you know, some confirmation, not like all the time. To know that I knew that God had called me to this so that I could survive the long, hard journey that it took me to get here.
Okay. Ladies, making mistakes is healthy and normal, and the sooner entrepreneurs realize this, the better. How do you handle mistakes? Are you a perfectionist? How has it helped or hindered your business? you being a perfectionist, has it been a challenge for you as a business owner?
I wouldn't call myself a perfectionist, but what I will say is I like to do things in excellence. However, I understand that I'm human. If I make a mistake, I own up to it. If I can fix it, I fix it. If God and I have to fix it, my client and I have to get together and fix it, we fix it. But I wouldn't consider myself a perfectionist. I just feel one of the things that I did when I started this business, I'm the opposite of, I don't need confirmation. If God tells me to go to China with no money tonight, I'm gonna get it. I'm getting to the airport. We'll figure it out on the way. That's the kind of person I am. But one of the things that I realized that I made a vow to myself and to my clients is that I work for God. And so everything that I do has to be a platform to give him some glory. And so that way I work to the best of my ability, but I'm a human. And so I'm going to make some mistakes. And so when I do make mistakes, we fix them. If we can fix them, if we can't, we apologize. Whatever it is we need to do, but we're not perfect. We're humans. And I think we need to take that pressure off of ourselves. I think perfectionism is a hindrance. I think it hinders you in every area of your life, in your relationships, in everything. So I like to do things with excellence, but I realize that I'm human and I don't beat myself up really bad when I make a mistake. I try not to make them, but I don't really beat myself up that bad.
Now, I know that Donna and Michelle, can I hear from you two regarding this particular question? Because I know somebody has to leave, I think. So can you answer that question before you run off?
I totally, Courtney said it great, because we are going to make mistakes, and
Okay.
and not everybody's going to like us. When you're a pioneer, when you're a leader, people are going to talk about you. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. So, if people like you, one time, I'm a T.D. Jakes fan. Okay. So one time I heard him preach a message. If they like you, it's good. If they don't like you, it's good. If they hire you, it's good. If they don't hire you, it's all good. God makes it all good. And, if something doesn't go right, we've planned something in our business and it doesn't work right, what we don't need to let happen. Now, can't say that I am 100% on this all the time. We can't beat ourselves up. We've got to pull ourselves together and say, okay, now what do how do I need to do this? Sometimes when we, things don't go the way we think, we're just hitting the guardrail. Okay, that wasn't quite right, the right strategy or approach. So maybe I need to shift this a little bit. We need to keep moving. We don't need to get stuck and beat ourselves up. We just need to say, okay, that wasn't the right approach. What is the right approach? And we learn from it. We keep going. None of us would be here on this call if we had let one mistake or one little failure, hold us down. Right, girls?
Right.
Ladies,
Like Oprah
have you
says,
ever missed
failure is
God?
just feedback.
That's it. And who's
That's
a
right.
teacher? You just learn, what doesn't work.
Right. I can tell you, I do have an A-type personality. I'm convicted. I can't sit here and tell you I don't. I like things done right, but it was stressing me out. Positive is I lost 30 pounds but it was in 30 days and I gained it all back because it wasn't healthy, but it was because I was so stressed out and I wanted stuff done. But I'll just say this in closing because I have to get off. So this is just something I think it's important to say. We never get a second chance to be ourselves again. So when we approach anything in life, is it worth stressing ourselves and getting sick over? And I think that's what puts it in perspective because we don't get a chance to do it again. I'm here in Georgia to lay to rest my 51-year-old cousin, mother of 5 children. She don't get a second chance.
That's right.
And I think that's why I'm learning not to stress out on stuff. I'm not saying I'm there, I'm thinking I'm learning, but I'm just putting stuff in perspective. I do the best I can do. If you don't like it, I know I did my best at the end of the day.
Yep.
But I think I had to get there because I wanted to be a pleaser and I wanted to make sure it was right. And I was upset when it wasn't, and I stressed out. And I can't give up my health and my happiness for that anymore. I just do the best, like what Courtney and Donna was saying, I do the best that I can. Is it always going to be pleasing? Possibly not. But if I know that I gave you 120, then I got to walk away from the table saying, I gave you my best, but definitely putting it in perspective, because God first, only thing second to him is our family, not even our companies and our work. That's our perspective. God first, then our family. And when we keep it in order and in line, everything else will play out. But we just have to put stuff in priorities, and remember, the main thing is keeping our thoughts on the main thing.
Mhm.
So that's all I have to say.
Excellent. Thank you. You're free to go.
you.
Thank you, my friend. And
Thank you all.
appreciate you.
It's a
I'm
pleasure
gonna
meeting
call
all of you.
Nice meeting you.
Yes.
Right. You take
Yes.
care.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
and I'm going to call you, and condolences again. And thank you
Thank you.
for amazing.
Thank you. You ladies have a blessed evening, and you're all amazing. I promise you.
All
Okay.
right.
All right,
Yeah, you'll be
bye-bye.
back,
Praying for you.
definitely.
Will. Okay.
All
Bye-bye.
right, my darling. All right, thank you. Bye-bye. Excellent. All right, ladies. May I ask you one more question? We'll wrap up. This is my last question. You know, it goes by so fast. You know what I mean? When you talk, it goes by so fast. And so I have you three ladies left. Now, my last question is this. I had this question last time, and I'm going to ask it again. You have the big picture and the small things. You know, some people major on the big things, some people major on the small things. Or is there an overlapping? Are they both important? Talk to me about that for just a couple of seconds, minutes. Big picture, small things. What comes to your mind as you, in relation to an entrepreneur, mompreneur? What kind of advice would you give someone if they were starting their own company and they're worrying about the big picture, where the money's coming from, that kind of thing? How do you kind of marry these two, or especially for someone who's just starting out?
I think it's important to get a clear vision of the way you want to feel, how you want it to show up with your, at the way you want it to be, and have that vision very clearly articulated. And then go through and just keep with that vision in mind. What are you feeling led to do? What is God leading you to do today? Just day by day, it's those little day by day answers and following through on what he tells you to do today, and then the next day and the next day, and he'll take care of that big picture. I think I made a lot of mistakes along the way and different things, but you do your best, and God will fix it. He'll make it all work together for your good in the end when you've got your eye on him. And when you get really clear with that big vision with him, those little details will work out. That's my theory.
Very good. Excellent. Courtney and Tiffany.
I think for me, what I've learned about God is my plans are not his plans. And so in terms of the big picture, when I started this many years ago, even in every area of my life, in my marriage, as a mother, as a business owner, I had a big picture. And none of it ended up that way. So what I've actually done in my life, in my business, in my relationship, is I've put all of that to God. I don't really have a big picture anymore. I take it day by day, and these small things are going to add up to I used to be a vision board person. I'm not that person anymore. I am a person that says, God, I have surrendered my life to you, and wherever you take me, wherever you take me in business, wherever you take me in ministry, whatever it is, I'm just going to follow you. One of my favorite songs is called Anywhere by Julie Meyer.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, I'll follow you anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember at one of the lowest points of my life when my family was living, 4 of us were living in a 1-room hotel. And I was washing dishes, and I said, God, this is not what you promised me.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bible says that he sings songs over us. And I was washing dishes, and I heard the Lord sing the song, I'll follow you anywhere. And he says, will you follow me to the in-town suites? And I said, yes, God, I will follow you anywhere. So from that moment forward, I don't have a plan. My life is in God's hand, and whatever he wants to do with it, I'm rolling with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's so
Mm-hmm.
good. That's so good. I would say that I think it's okay to have a big picture, but you have to be open to what God is saying within that big picture. I had this big picture of being a gospel recording artist and traveling the world. And in the midst of that, God led me to start The Village, which is a community-based nonprofit organization. I had no idea I'd be able to handle both. By the grace of God, He has given me all of that. I've recorded, I've traveled the country, and I'm able to manage the nonprofit. I am completely blown away that God would orchestrate my life in this way. But you know, even though I had my own big picture, God gave me something else that He wanted to place inside of it. So it's just about being open. You know, even if you have a big picture, being open to what God is saying within it.
Excellent. So Joseph,
I'd like to add to that. If you got a second.
Yes.
It's how you want to feel in the end. I think that is more important than the details of how it looks. Like, feel like you're making a difference, that you're contributing to the world, and that the people who interact with you come away better. Or, you know, you see what I'm saying? There's a difference between how you want to feel as your big picture, as, oh, I want to do this, because, yeah, God's got His ideas on how that's going to be, but it's more important about who you want to be and how you want to feel in the end. So I agree. Totally. Great point.
You know, so Joseph is, y'all know the story. We're all Bible scholars here. So Joseph gets a dream, and he gets another dream and another dream. You know, like all of us, right? We get these dreams from God. We want to do A, B, C. But then Joseph's brother sells him into slavery. First they throw him in a pit, and then they go around and sell him, right? And then they go off, and he goes off, and he ends up in Potiphar's house. And then on top of that, you know what I mean? He's thinking he's okay for a little while, right? Of course, you know, this boy's like 13, 14, 15. He's a teenager in Potiphar's house. And then the wife decides, oh, he's fine. You know what I mean? I'm going to attack him when my husband's not around. And she does it. So he ends up in prison. Okay, so let me ask you a question. What do you think is going on in this dude's mind? He's like probably 15 to 18, something like that. I don't know. And the vision is going the opposite direction. This dude in prison. Now, you know, today, what would we say? We would see that in headlights. It would be viral by now. You know, this guy tries to rape the king wife, et cetera, et cetera. So he's in a comfortable prison. He's not in the dungeon one. He's in a better, comfortable prison that's made for the servants. So he's there. But then on top of that, right, he interprets his counterpart dream, and then the guy forgets him when he gets there. But then we can say God steps in, right? God steps in. So it's that appointed time. So all this time, this dude is going through all of this, and then God says, now is my time to exalt you. So God purposely gives this guy these dreams. He knows he can't interpret them. He knows his colleagues can't interpret them, his sorcerers, but God. I think we all could say that, but God. I mean, even you had your dream, I had my dream, right? I had my dream, my daughter, in the middle of my dream, I'm making 6 figures, more than 6 figures. She gets MS, never been sick a day in her life. Hallelujah. Never been in the hospital. And she shut down. Couldn't walk, couldn't talk, couldn't everything, just blind, couldn't hear, and I was devastated. Broke, you know, and I saw my life in pieces on the ground. Yes, and I was like, what's this? And ended up having to downsize several times. So I can understand what this guy was going through, even though I was, you know, I'm a woman, we're women, but we can relate to him.
Yes.
Like, especially when you hear Tiffany and your Court's vision, and even your Maina, even what you said, you had to quit for a while, and you know, so all of our vision didn't go the way we thought, and we didn't go the pathway that we thought we were going to go. You ended up somewhere else, Courtney, and Tiffany ended up somewhere else, and Maina, you ended up somewhere, but God. when the time came for that vision to come to pass,
My
God
God.
gave this man this dream. And at that point, I always love this moment because the scripture says, though the vision tarry, wait, it shall come to pass, it shall speak. Glory to God. It will
Yes.
speak. I mean, it will close, it was going to shut the mouth of every lion, every tongue that wagged, everybody that said no, everybody that said, oh, who she thinks she is.
Mhm.
And God, when he has that, and I think that moment is in all of our lives.
Mhm.
So when that moment is going to be, but I do believe as an entrepreneur, I mean, prophetically, I just hear God saying to you, it's too bad the other ladies had to go, but I have to tell them, lady, I feel God on me right now. And I just want you to understand one thing as a prophetess of God. I don't care what you're going through. I don't care what anybody's told you. I hear God saying it will come to pass.
Yes.
Vision, though it is tarrying right now in the name of Jesus, it shall speak. That's what the Lord said unto you today before you. It will not lie. Hallelujah. It will not lie. Okay.
Mhm.
So I want to tell you a little bit of my daughter. She is seeing today. She can hear today. She can walk today.
Praise God.
1 ounce of medication. She didn't spend not one. She was only in the hospital like a month and a half, but then to find out what she had. And I brought her home broken in pieces.
Mhm.
My life on the ground with, like, like how you have a puzzle and there's all these pieces. And I used to take my life and look at it, and I saw on the ground like it was just laying there, all these 1,000 pieces. And I was like, oh God. And I said, oh God, okay, I can't put this back together. So I had to wait, just like Joseph, just like you. But I want you to know your life may have been in 1,000 pieces, but God said, Humpty Dumpty might have not been able to put the back together yet, but I can.
Mhm. Yeah.
So here it is at the end of our hour. And so at the end of this story, Joseph did see his brothers at some point, and they did bow down to him, just like God said. And in a nutshell, his father returned and saw him, was able to bless, actually love on him before he died. So everything that God had showed him, it came to pass. But one thing I want you to know is this right here. Joseph was broken because the Bible said that when he left, he put everybody out. When he revealed himself, he put everybody out. And he went in the room, and the Bible said that they could hear his cry throughout the land. Now, I don't know about you. Can you imagine? Like, he's in his house, and Pharaoh and all the servants heard his cry. You know what I mean? And I just believe that also in our lives, God has heard our cry. And when that moment comes, he will reveal to the world what he's been doing for 30 years, 15 years, 14 years, 40 years, whatever, how many years he's been doing in our lives. So I just thank you for taking this moment out of your busy schedules to be with me today and to talk to my audience, but then also your audiences get to see our testimonies, our stories, and hopefully they'll be blessed by our stories. And believe me, this is not the last time I will see you and you will see me, because next year, same time, same place, hopefully you'll be able to meet me back here again. And I want to know all the wonderful things that has happened and even the bumps and bruises along the way for our audience so that they can walk in the thing that God has called us, which is mompreneurs. So you have been summoned, but today I love you, God bless you. And out there in Facebook land and all over the world, we will see you again next year, same place, same time. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.